All right. So transitioning on over to make a case. We're gonna make a case now. Let's ease on back to ball. Balls are situated. Let's ease on back to football. Let's make a case for 4 programs right now. There are 4 programs. They may not be inside, but they're basically bubble teams. They're lurking. Michigan, Wake Forest, Notre Dame, and Pitt. Let's start with the Michigan Wolverines. Hack, I know it's a blood rival, but you do represent the region. Make a case for the Michigan Wolverines right now, crashing the party and solidifying a seat.
Yeah, I'll talk about them bad boys. One thing I will say, I love the way Michigan's playing right now. And we've talked about this both on my podcast with JP and here. I'm seeing a different edge with this team when they play. Watching the game today, it was a slow start. Second half, they came out. They had some kill in them. So just watching football games and being able to feel the flow of it, you see a little bit of different shit to them. But diving a little bit deeper, I think their special teams are really good, which is a big bonus that oftentimes gets overlooked in all of football. I think their defense is very good. And I think their run game can travel with anybody. What I feel that they are lacking in, and we kind of were hitting on this prior to this show, is whether it's a product of the fact that they don't trust their trigger man and Cade McNamara right now to be able to run a possession passing game, or whether they don't feel they have a guy on the outside who can separate consistently to be able to give them the ability to do so. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'm just going to go ahead and label this blanket statement, easy label, is I don't think they have elite quarterback play, and I don't think they have an elite level of possession passing game to be able to carry them through if the run game is not necessarily firing on all cylinders. I think there's a heavy reliance on play action, shot plays, all off of their passing game is off of their run game, which isn't a bad thing to have, but you also got to be able to facilitate every now and again on 3rd and 8. And that's where I see Michigan.
Hack, quick question. If the Wolverines fall behind to one of these other monsters that is down the schedule, if they fall behind 14, can they run them down?
Well, we're going to find out. That's the beautiful thing about the Big Ten right now is we're going to find out. All these teams, even Penn State, as disappointed as I am and as hurt as I am right now, Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State, and Ohio State, everything's in front of them. It's all right here. Similar to how Clint was talking about Oklahoma and what they got heading down the pike, the Big Ten's got that tenfold. So I'm really excited to see about Michigan. And how they fall in place, if they can get over that hump, if they can beat Penn State, if they can beat Ohio State. That's ultimately what they got to do.
Bryce Petty, I'm going to put you on a private jet from Colleyville, Texas to Wake Forest, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Make the case for the undefeated, undisputed ACC possible coastal champs in the Wake Forest Demon Deacons getting a coveted seat in the playoffs. Make the case.
Yeah, well, I think the first case is Dave Clawson, their head coach, has been there for 8 years, recruited me to go to Tennessee.
Hey, raise a glass.
Man, I tell you what, that was.
I like them little home stories.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. And Fulmer just signed a 7-year extension back in 08. But look,
hey, I got him that extension. I got him that extension.
Well, you didn't help him keep it, I guess.
Well, mine was in '98, so you're right. I got him the extension before, and sorry, somebody didn't even send me a ring. Hey, they didn't send me no damn McDonald's bag. They didn't send me no damn championship ring.
The bag man missed you. The bag man.
Nothing.
Hey, I knew we were connected somehow.
T. Martin, I've done more for that university than anybody. Maybe Peyton.
Maybe Peyton. Go ahead,
Bryce. Did we just become best friends? Not only is my man sipping Clase Azul, which is my favorite. Thank you.
Wow. Shit.
But so look, man, Dave Clawson's got him rolling, and Warren Rosario, who's been with them for a while. This was interesting. Actually, looking up their stats, man, they set. I didn't even realize this, but there's 300 records that they've set. I didn't even know you could set that many records at Wake Forest. So the guys got something rolling in the offensive side of the room. So 4 of the last 5 seasons, they're setting school records on offense, which is a beautiful thing. Sam Hartman is actually a sophomore. So dude's already got a lot of play under his belt, got a lot more. He actually had the story on ESPN today, which is a beautiful story. If you guys didn't get a chance to catch it, man, he's got a tremendous heart. And I like heart, and I like that he's playing for something. He's playing for purpose.
I got to call the unconventional timeout because, Bryce, I'm looking at our feed. People are asking flat out, Bryce Petty, how will Wake Forest get into the playoff? How will they get into and everything Bryce Petty, mind you, go to Bryce Petty. It's at Bryce Petty at Twitter.
Okay.
And at Bryce Petty.
Okay. Look, so this is hard for me right now because I've yet to watch a Wake Forest game. I thought there was 2 R's in Forest until tonight. So that's we're moving along. But here's the thing. Look, you've got Duke. You are at UNC, who has proven nothing this year. You got NC State at home. You've got at Clemson, who we just talked about, is in a massive debacle. And then you've got at BC. So I think your schedule sets up for you to run the table. And if you have offense, which is what I was setting up until this unconventional 30-second timeout, what happened? If you have offense, defense will get you there. I think in this conference right now, you've got no defense that's in front of you that we just talked about with Hack outside of Clemson that can really slow those guys down. And they got Clemson at home. So to me, they've got enough firepower, at least, ammo in the clip there, to take out 5 of 5 ACC opponents and then roll into Charlotte for the ACC championship and make some moves.
So they got to win the ACC is what you're saying.
That's 100% what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that their schedule allows them to do that in kind of a convincing way. So that's, in my light research, thank you, Dagan, for making me take stories, and have to debate something I don't necessarily know if I absolutely believe in. But you have Sam Hartman, who's your undoubted leader, who actually is excited about playing quarterback. You have Dave Clawson, who's been there, done that. So I think you have the pieces in play. That's what I was kind of gearing up for. And now you've got a schedule that lets you do it. Clint, I will divert to you.
Clint, we're going now. I'm going to put you on a nice, what you want, a G4, G5? What you need, Clint? I'm going to get you.
It don't matter, man. Just get me on a steel bird, man. Give me a little something to drink in there and some good shit to talk. We can go to first, baby. I ain't in no hurry. The days are over. Got him something to sip. Probably want a little DMX playing low in the background. Now you do it. That's so good. That's so good. I got DMX will work. So you are representing Notre Dame Nation. You have 1 loss this season, and it's the number 2 current team in the nation right now in Cincinnati.
We are.
Make the case. Make the case. Why will Notre Dame make it into the playoffs? Well, I mean, here's the deal. Cincinnati's going to lose a ball game. And even though Cincinnati's already beaten Notre Dame, that's going to put Notre Dame above them because they're the Golden Domers. We all know what the College Football Playoff Committee is going to do with that right there. That's a no-brainer.
It's about money and fan base.
In fact, they may do it. They may do it even with Cincinnati running the table. I'm talking about leaving them out of the college football playoffs, not having Notre Dame jumping them. Easy, Bryce. Confident. Hey, you got to take that green ass hat off. You gonna do that right there? Hey, you really took the assignment to heart. No. I think there's a really good chance. In fact, I'd probably bet on it, even though I probably shouldn't because I ain't real lucky. But there's a really good chance Cincinnati undefeated gets left out of this thing. However, back to Notre Dame. I think there's a real good chance that Cincinnati loses a ball game. I think that it's going to take a lot of football teams ahead of Notre Dame to lose a ball game. And
a hell of an argument, by the way.
What's that?
This is a hell of an argument.
But you argued for 30 minutes on shit that don't matter. Wake Forest needs everybody else to lose a ball game, Bryce. Damn. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to tell you. I mean, they're sitting at 13 right now with a loss to number 2. They got to have a whole lot of people lose some ball games, and outside of them being the Golden Dome, and they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. If they can just get close, right? If they can just get close to the Final Four and get in the conversation, if they're in the top 6 at the end of the year, there's a really good chance that they could slide into this thing. Look, there's nothing on their schedule left that I can tell you that's going to get them into the college football playoffs. All I can tell you is there's several teams above them that have monsters on their schedule, like Penn State, who lost today, but like
Ohio
Michigan,
State,
like Ohio State, like Oklahoma State. Like, there's a ton of schools ahead of them that have to play some other monsters. And so just with a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they're gonna climb. They're going to climb the rankings already, and all they got to do is get to 6, and I think they'll get the benefit of the doubt and possibly get in. There's nothing I can tell you about Notre Dame, make an argument about Notre Dame on the field or schedule-wise that's going to get them from 12 to the top 4. Guys, it's going to take somebody else mixing this thing up. The truth of the matter is that I remember, and I believe it was the first college football playoffs, I remember Ohio State getting beat early in the year by a 6 at home, by the way, by a 6-6 Virginia Tech team, and still getting the benefit of the doubt and getting in.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I
Notre
would agree.
Dame,
It's where you're at it in November. I would agree with that. Yeah.
and it's where you're at, and Cincinnati can't be bad enough right now for their one loss to keep them out. Is my point. So there's a lot of things also with the conference ties. Like the fact that they have no conference ties, I think bodes well for them, right? If it comes up against them and 2 Big Ten teams or them and two SEC teams, I think Notre Dame gets in, no brainer. So there's some things there that are really out of their control or already decided that can help them get into the college football playoffs. But there's nothing about Brian Kelly or Notre Dame that's going to convince anybody between now and then that they belong.
So, real quick, George, before you hit this. So
how you like that argument, Bryce? How you like that argument, Bryce?
I mean, hell, you just sat there and told us 4 different times that there's nothing you can tell me to get us in there. So, but if we do have, because it was an interesting point, if you do have, say that Cincinnati does run the table, right? They basically at this point, they only have SMU, I think, that's ranked, right? And they're going to have them at home. So they got 1 game left to go win. But say that they run the table and they're still sitting at 2. You know, so you got Georgia at 1, Cincy at 2. I don't think it's going to happen, but just for argument's sake, say that you got Oklahoma that runs the table. So Oklahoma's in at 3. And then you have Alabama, which is 1 loss, and then Notre Dame sitting at 5.
You just left out the entire Big Ten.
Yeah,
100%.
Unbelievable.
I know I did. So do you think, I'm just going off of AP top 25 right now. Alabama's number 4. Sorry.
Yeah.
So the idea is, do you think that Notre Dame sitting at 5 in that scenario will jump Cincinnati when Cincinnati beat them at Notre Dame?
Well,
that's to you, Clint.
Say it again.
God damn it.
Peter's on my case over here talking about shaving balls. What is it?
Look, let's just
ahead,
say they're going to need help. Let me make this case while we still got the good people with us. Clint made great points on Notre Dame, and he's right.
I appreciate that, George. Thanks, George. I appreciate that.
You are good, great
got no
points.
Shot in hell unless 9 people in front of us just basically fall off the face of the earth. But look, if that happens, we'll get in there.
But the great
you want me to lie to you, Bryce?
But listen,
you mean lie to you? Give me a good reason. Give me something other than what I said.
That was your assignment. That ain't my assignment. That was your assignment.
Yeah, but the great Bryce Petty started this whole podcast off by saying nobody's safe. That's the killer part. And now he says, I don't think anybody's going to lose. That's real strange. So I have taken on the Pitt Panthers. I've taken on the Pitt Panthers, and this is their case, and I'm going to make it simple. Starts out, they have to run They got to run the table. And this is what they're looking at on the field. Home against the Hurricanes, win. At Duke, they'll get them. Nice showdown November 11th against the Tar Heels. Sam Howell be coming in there. They get them. Virginia and Syracuse, one's on the road, one's at home. They get them. So that's 5 games. They got to run the table. Anything in between that, they don't make it. Any overtime wins, I don't think they make it. Now, even an undefeated Pitt or a one-loss Pitt versus an undefeated Oklahoma or an undefeated Cincinnati, they're out. So if those 2 programs run the table, they're out. They're already out. That's 5 games. It's too tough of a loss with the 3-point loss at Western Michigan, a funky game, 44-41. They're out. This is what needs to happen for Pitt to do something. They really want to do something. You need chaos in the Big 12. You need all those top teams to have at least 1 loss. And you need Oklahoma to look really vulnerable. No undefeateds can come out of a Power 5 league for you as Pitt. You can't have any. You're closer if Cincinnati stumbles. You're closer. You need Cincinnati to lose. Even with all of that, to Clint's point, the committee has shown they'll throw the rankings out. Pardon all my Portuguese. They'll throw the rankings out. A 1-loss Pitt team, and that loss is to Western Michigan. And here comes another SEC program or an Ohio State team that didn't make it into the Big Ten championship, but they still only have 1 loss. You're out.
I think to add to that, you got to have Wake Forest run the table too. That's the only other thing I'd add to that.
That's what I said.
Wake Forest loses,
have a quality win.
Loses your conference championship is bullshit. So yeah, I think you got to have Wake Forest in that boat as well.
That's a good point.
So for those people at home, Dan Marino and Aaron Donald, and there's still a chance. There's still a chance. Hey, for Clint, for Hackenberg, for Bryce Petty, we enjoy rocking with you. Hope you had a chance to kind of get in, get some ball. Next week, we're going to pull up more of your questions. But until then, George Whitfield, college football, Field of 12 After Dark show. Thank you for joining us. Catch you next week. So this is a awkward timeout, but we got to call this timeout. We're going to move from performing and having balls when you're out there to keeping them clean and Manscaped. We're just going to just jump to it. Dang it,
That's a great jump. There you go. So, ISO, play one.
And Clint, Hack, and Bryce, be ready because I'm dishing on this. Support for today's episode of After Dark College Football Field of 12 comes from Manscaped, the world leader in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped has just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.10 Hackenberg. It's a sleek, well-designed, and precision-engineered trimmer, and I got to tell you, I was blown away by the performance. The way Manscaped engineered the ultimate growing and body trimmer is simple. They focused on intelligent functionality and providing the comfortable grooming experience. The Lawnmower 4.0 Hackenberg was developed with the trademark skin-safe technology, which includes a cutting-edge ceramic blade that reduces snags and nicks. Right, Bryce? You need to be confident in any tool you use on the old family jewels. Manscaped, as held up there by Clint, features the Lawnmower 4.0, also has a 4000K LED spotlight. So you see what the hell you're doing.
Yep.
An attachment that allows you to change the length of your trim and a wireless charger. Most importantly, you want to make sure you're not using the same trimmer on your nuts as your face. That's just nasty.
Can't do that.
So head on over to manscaped.com where you'll get 20% off, free shipping with the codes. I'm going to give you those codes right now. Field of 12 After Dark. Put in 20 dark, all caps, for your 20% off and free shipping. So Manscaped, handle your business. As a future user of Lawnmower 4.10, trust me, I will come back and tell you that my balls feel great. Thank you.